Patagonia sits at the bottom of the world, a place where the Andes Mountains meet endless ice. The northern and southern Patagonian ice fields cover over 6,000 square miles of frozen wilderness, making them the largest ice mass in the Southern Hemisphere outside Antarctica. Some of this ice is over 15,000 years old, compressed layers of snow that fell before the first humans crossed into the Americas. For centuries, the ice was considered impenetrable, too cold, too remote, too dangerous. But climate change is melting Patagonia faster than anywhere else on Earth. And as the ice retreats, it is revealing things that were never meant to be found. If you have ever wondered what secrets lie buried beneath ancient glaciers, trust me, you will want to keep watching. Because what is emerging from Patagonian ice is not just changing science, it is terrifying the scientists who study it. Let us start with the discovery that made international headlines before it was quietly buried. In February 2019, a Chilean glaciological survey team was conducting routine measurements on the Grey Glacier in Torres del Paine National Park. Their job was simple: drill ice cores, measure thickness, assess melt rates. What they found 180 meters down was not simple at all. The drill brought up something that should not have been there: organic material. Organic material, dark, fibrous, and unlike anything in the survey team's experience. Initial analysis suggested animal tissue, but the depth indicated an age of approximately 12,000 years. Here is the problem: nothing that large should have been preserved at that depth. Ice cores at 180 meters show evidence of extreme pressure and temperature fluctuations. Organic preservation should be impossible. Dr. Elena Vargas, the team's lead glaciologist, sent samples to the University of Santiago for DNA analysis. The results came back 6 weeks later, classified as inconclusive, but with a handwritten note from the lab director, suggesting the samples showed genetic markers inconsistent with any known species. Within days, the Chilean government restricted access to the drilling site. Dr. Vargas was reassigned to a different project. When journalists requested the DNA analysis report under Freedom of Information laws, they were told the documents had been transferred to military jurisdiction. The official statement mentioned contamination concerns. But contamination does not explain why armed guards were stationed at the Grey Glacier research station for 3 months afterward. Something was found in that ice, and someone decided the public should not know what it was. But that was not the only thing emerging from Patagonian glaciers that year. Let us talk about what happened at the Perito Moreno Glacier in Argentina. Perito Moreno is one of the few advancing glaciers in the world, a wall of ice 3 miles wide that towers 200 feet above Lago Argentino. Tourists come from around the world to watch massive chunks of ice calve into the lake with thunderous crashes. In March 2020, something calved that was not at ice. A tour group captured video of what appeared to be a dark rectangular object emerging from a collapsing ice wall. The object fell into the lake and sank before anyone could retrieve it. But the video, which circulated briefly on social media before being removed for terms of service violations, showed something with straight edges and uniform dimensions, approximately 8 feet long by 3 feet wide. Here is what makes this significant. Ice does not form rectangles. Rocks do not either, not with those proportions. The object displayed characteristics of manufactured material, though experts who reviewed the footage before it disappeared disagreed on what it could be. Park authorities issued a statement attributing the sighting to an optical illusion caused by ice refraction. They did not explain why the video was removed from multiple platforms simultaneously, or why the tour company that employed the guide who filmed it received a visit from Argentine Naval Intelligence 2 days later. The guide, a man named Rodrigo Fuentes, who had worked at Perito Moreno for 11 years, quit his job the following week. He declined all interview requests but reportedly told his brother that some things should not be disturbed. Whatever fell from that glacier sank into water nearly 700 feet deep. If it is still there, no one has gone looking for it. Or if they have, they are not talking about it. Now, let us discuss something that has been documented repeatedly but never explained. the sounds beneath the southern Patagonian ice field. Starting in 2016, seismological stations installed to monitor volcanic activity in the region began picking up unusual signals. Low-frequency vibrations, between 1 and 10 Hz, originating from beneath the ice field at depths exceeding 2,000 feet. The signals occurred in regular patterns, repeating every 17 minutes with remarkable consistency. Dr. Francisco Mendez, a seismologist at the University of Concepcion, described the signals as unlike anything in his 30-year career. Volcanic tremors are chaotic. Earthquakes have identifiable signatures. These signals were rhythmic, almost mechanical, as if something beneath the ice was pulsing. Here's the thing. There is no known geological explanation for rhythmic signals at that depth and frequency. The ice field sits on bedrock that shows no evidence of volcanic activity. There are no underground rivers or lakes that could produce such regular patterns. When Mendez presented his findings at a 2018 conference in Buenos Aires, the response was skepticism followed by silence. His request for funding to install additional sensors beneath the ice was denied without explanation. The original sensors were removed in 2021, officially for maintenance. They were never replaced. The signals, if they are still occurring, are no longer being recorded, at least not publicly. But some researchers believe the sounds are connected to something discovered 3 decades earlier, something that the Chilean and Argentine governments agreed to keep classified. In 1991, a joint Chilean-Argentine scientific expedition was mapping the subglacial topography of the southern Patagonian ice field using ground-penetrating radar. The goal was to understand the bedrock beneath the ice for future climate modeling. What the radar revealed should not have been there. At a depth of approximately 800 meters, the radar showed anomalous structures, not rock formations, not ice layers. Linear features with right angles that suggested artificial construction. The largest anomaly measured roughly 150 meters long by 40 meters wide. Dr. Roberto Salazar, one of 3 geologists on the expedition, later wrote in his personal journal that the radar images showed what appeared to be walls. He noted that the team leaders immediately classified the findings and ordered the equipment recalibrated, suggesting the images were instrument errors. But here is what does not add up. The expedition was supposed to last 6 weeks. It was terminated after 8 days. All radar data was confiscated by military personnel who met the team at their extraction point. Team members were required to sign confidentiality agreements before returning to their universities. Dr. Salazar died in 2007. His journal was discovered by his daughter, and portions were published in an Argentine archaeology journal in 2019. The journal article was retracted within weeks, citing verification issues. The daughter reported receiving threatening phone calls and declined further comment. Whatever was found beneath that ice in 1991 remains buried. The exact coordinates of the anomaly have never been released, and no expedition has been permitted to return to that sector of the ice field. Some secrets, it seems, are meant to stay frozen. Let us move to something that has been seen by hundreds of witnesses, but never officially acknowledged. The lights above the Upsala Glacier. Upsala is one of the largest glaciers in South America, a river of ice 35 miles long that flows into Lago Argentino from the southern Patagonian ice field. It is also one of the most inaccessible, reachable only by boat or aircraft. Starting in 2008, tour operators and pilots began reporting unusual lights above the glacier. Not the green shimmer of the aurora australis, which occasionally reaches these latitudes. Something different. Steady, bluish-white points of light hover motionless above the ice before accelerating at impossible speeds. One pilot, Captain Maria Esperanza, described an encounter during a tourist flight in 2014. 3 lights appeared approximately 2,000 feet above the glacier surface, stationary despite 40-knot winds whiz. When she altered course to investigate, the lights moved in perfect formation, maintaining exact spacing before vanishing simultaneously. She reported the incident to Argentine civil aviation authorities. The response was that no other aircraft were in the area, and no weather phenomena could explain the sighting. Her report was filed and never followed up. Here's where it gets stranger. Indigenous Tehuelche oral traditions describe similar lights above the ice fields going back generations. They call them the eyes of the old ones, and warn against approaching them. According to legend, those who follow the lights do not return, or return changed in ways that make them unrecognizable to their families. Modern witnesses have reported similar effects. A mountaineer named Juan Delgado, who spent 3 weeks on the Upsala Glacier in 2017, reported a night when he watched the lights for over 2 hours. When he returned to El Calafate, friends noted that he seemed different, distracted, and unable to focus on conversations. Delgado himself reported persistent nightmares and unexplained gaps in his memory of the expedition. He stopped climbing the following year and refused to discuss the experience further. Official explanations typically mention atmospheric phenomena or aircraft misidentification. But atmospheric phenomena do not hover motionless in high winds, and there are no airports within 200 miles of the Upsala Glacier. Something is watching from above that ice, and whatever it is, it does not seem to want witnesses. Now let us discuss the most recent discovery, and perhaps the most disturbing. In December 2023, climate researchers from the University of Magallanes were studying ice recession at the O'Higgins Glacier, one of the most remote points in the southern ice field. What they found trapped in a recently exposed ice layer made them contact authorities immediately. Bodies, multiple humanoid remains, frozen in positions, suggesting they had died suddenly. The researchers initially assumed they had discovered victims of a climbing accident, perhaps an expedition lost decades ago. But closer examination revealed something impossible. The bodies showed no evidence of modern clothing, equipment, or any material that could be dated to the past 500 years. Initial visual assessment suggested the remains were ancient, potentially thousands of years old based on ice layer analysis. Here is the problem. There is no archaeological evidence of human presence in the remote southern ice field at any point in history. The region is too hostile. No indigenous culture had the technology to survive there, let alone establish a presence that would leave multiple remains. The Chilean Antarctic Institute took control of the site within 48 hours. Researchers were evacuated and signed comprehensive non-disclosure agreements. Satellite imagery of the location was restricted from public mapping services. No official statement has been issued about the O'Higgins discovery. The University of Magallanes has not published any findings. The researchers involved have declined all interviews. But before communications were cut, one team member sent a text message to a colleague that was later leaked to Argentine media. It read simply, "They were not climbers. They were too old, and there were too many of them. What did the Patagonian ice preserve for thousands of years? Who were these people, and how did they die in a place where no human should have been? And why is every answer being buried as quickly as the questions arise?" Finally, let us talk about what happened to the scientists themselves, because the pattern is unmistakable. Over the past 15 years, at least 7 researchers who studied anomalous discoveries in Patagonian ice have experienced unexplained medical conditions. Dr. Vargas, who found the organic material at Grey Glacier, developed severe neurological symptoms within 6 months of her discovery. She retired on medical disability in 2021. Captain Esperanza, the pilot who witnessed the lights, was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disorder 2 years after her report. She can no longer fly. Dr. Mendez, the seismologist who documented the rhythmic signals, suffered a stroke in 2022 at age 52 with no prior cardiovascular history. He survived, but has significant cognitive impairment. Coincidence is the official explanation. Stress from fieldwork in extreme environments, the normal range of human medical misfortune. But here is what makes it harder to dismiss. Each of these researchers had one thing in common. They talked publicly about what they found, at least initially. Those who stayed silent seemed to have fared better. Those who ask questions seem to have paid a price. Is something protecting the secrets beneath Patagonian ice? Or is the ice itself somehow dangerous, carrying ancient pathogens or unknown contaminants that affect those who disturb it? We do not know, and based on the pattern, those who find out might wish they had not. 7 discoveries. 7 mysteries that Patagonian ice has revealed as it melts into the warming oceans. Organic material that should not exist. Manufactured objects emerging from glaciers. Rhythmic sounds from impossible depths. Structures buried beneath 800 meters of ice. Lights that watch from above. Bodies from an age when no one should have been there. And a pattern of illness among those who investigate. Climate scientists estimate that, at current melt rates, significant portions of the Patagonian ice fields will be gone within 100 years. What else will emerge as the ice retreats? What other secrets have been frozen for thousands of years waiting to be found? Perhaps more importantly, are some things buried in ice for a reason? The indigenous Tehuelche have a saying that has been passed down for generations. They say the ice is not a grave but a prison. That what sleeps beneath the frozen fields should not be awakened. That the old ones put things there so they would stay hidden forever. Modern science dismisses such legends as mythology, but modern science is also melting the prison walls. If you have made it this far, thank you. Leave a like if any of these mysteries sent chills down your spine that had nothing to do with ice. Tell us in the comments which discovery you find most disturbing and whether you think some secrets should stay frozen. Subscribe to join us as we continue investigating the places where science meets the unexplained, where the familiar ends and the impossible begins. Because the ice is melting, and whatever it has been hiding for 15,000 years is about to become our problem. Some things are preserved by cold, some things are contained by it, and soon we might learn the difference.